Hi, just come off a 12-hour shift. There comes to something when you have to ring a patient's parents to tell them that it's time to say goodbye, not in person over the phone. The whole hospital's on lockdown, so I've been with him day and night for the past 4 days, and
go on then. What are you waiting for?
Alright, stop nagging.
You wanted to do it.
Just give me a minute. I'm scared.
You can do it. Just jump. Just jump. Just jump.
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Tom Evans. I'm currently working on an ICU ward. Sorry about earlier. I wanted to talk to you about a patient. This one wasn't COVID, he was in an accident. When you become a doctor, you kind of have to switch off your emotions, no matter who you're treating. But this one, it really hit me. And the memories came flowing back. When they brought him in, I switched off my pager. I didn't want any interruptions. It'd been all hands on deck for weeks. New patients coming every 5 minutes. Not enough ventilators, not enough PPE. But I prepared myself. I spoke to neurology, had all the facts. The worst thing about this pandemic is the families can't be there with their loved ones. You have to tell them they can't come in because of social distancing and the risks of cross-infection. Hearing that dial tone was the longest 10 seconds of my life.
Hello, is that Mr. Peters? Yes, it's Tom, Dr. Tom Evans. I'm calling to let you know that unfortunately your son has been involved in an accident on the dockside.
It can be pretty graphic when you give them the details. You try to do it as soon as possible when the patient first comes in. You're aware that you're talking about their child, but they've got to understand the circumstances, how serious the situation is. You try to soften the blow. When the child hit the water, he was down there for a significant amount of time. He hit an unknown object. A bystander raised the alarm, and the paramedics were there in moments and managed to stabilise the child.
999, what's your emergency?
Hi, yeah, there's two kids, they've like fallen in the water.
Okay, what's your location?
Cardiff Bay, we're down by like outside Technoquest, down by there. Oh, there's one of them's not moving.
Please stay calm. Is anyone else there?
Yeah, somebody's just jumped in to try and get him.
Okay, who am I speaking with?
My name's Beth.
Okay, Beth, stay on the line with me. Can you tell me what's happening now?
Yeah, they're coming out, there's like two guys bringing them up.
Okay, are they awake?
No, I don't think so.
There's an ambulance on the way, Beth. They won't be long. Have they brought them up?
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to do mouth to mouth, and one of the kids' faces is like all swollen.
Go on then. What are you waiting for?
Alright, stop lagging.
You wanted to do it.
Just give me a minute. I'm scared.
You can do it. Just jump. Just jump. Just jump.
My sister used to practice a guitar all the time. It used to drive me mad, especially when I had homework. I remember before the accident, I nagged her to show me where to jump, and she agreed to help as long as I didn't tell Mum about her gigging. I remember it like it was yesterday. Looking out at the water, calm, glistening, enticing really. It was boiling. Water must have been warmer than 10 degrees. I was trying desperately to see if there was anything under the surface that might be a problem. Corey had told me at the time his feet hit the wall. Didn't fancy that. The bay was deserted apart from my sister. Really strange. I had an awful feeling in the pit of my stomach. But I ignored it as nerves. And I jumped. See, I didn't realise at the time that the bay used to be a working dock. Ships used to come there from all over the world. So there's loads of stuff still under the water. My leg must have hit something. I was deep in water and it was freezing cold. Falling for what felt like ages. I could barely open my eyes. It was this pain all the flight. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't feel my toes. Couldn't feel anything. I could see the surface, but I couldn't reach. It was getting further and further away, but I kept trying until I couldn't. All my energy was gone, and I was falling. Something came crashing down, and then there was an arm around my chest, pulling it back to the surface. It was Kaylee. She somehow pushed me back up, and there were people there waiting to pull me out.
Tom, where are you? Tom?
Once I got fished out of the water, they tried to find my sister. They got her out, but the damage had been done. We spent the next month or so back and forth to the hospital. And I suppose I saw how incredible the doctors were in trying to save my sister, and it inspired me. Especially at the minute when I see parents not being allowed to stay with their children. Doctors and nurses working together, working as hard as we can to help our patients. I knew exactly what they were going through.
Hi, Tom. Any news?
Hi, Mr. Corey. Things aren't looking great at the minute. We've stabilised him, but his brain has been badly damaged and it may have stopped completely.
Tommy's my only son.
Corey, I'm so sorry.
Is he in a coma?
Well, when someone is in a coma, they have limited brain function. But if there's no brain function, then the person has died. Your son is currently on a ventilator. We'll have to do tests to see the extent of the brain injury and to see if the brain has stopped.
I haven't spoken to Corey since the day I jumped in. I think he felt guilty. And after that, his mum and dad split up and he moved away. I didn't speak to him again until 4 days ago when his son was brought in. I had to tell him over the phone that he couldn't come and see him. Brought all those memories back. Of that day, of my sister. Thinking you're in the clear. That initial rush of adrenaline. She saved you, and then looking back and she's not there. I don't want people to go through what we did, and I'll do whatever I can to stop it every step of the way. Look, I know that when the weather is as nice as it is, you're probably itching to get outside, but this is the reality. We do as best we can, but we're pushed to the limit. Kaylee died in my mother's arms a few weeks after I jumped. Gone forever. We donated her organs, which comforted my mum in a small way, but I still feel guilty. She died trying to save me, and I can never repay her for that. And now I do my very best to try and save others, and on the hardest of days when I need to be brave, I feel like she's there with me. I had to switch off Corey's son's ventilator this morning. Corey wasn't allowed to be there. It was just me.